And I've got Paul Santisi. Paul, you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. We have liftoff.
Fantastic.
How are you, sir?
Great.
All right. And trying to remember, earlier I was trying to remember how I came upon your work, and I really couldn't remember. I think I was looking researching stuff about subliminals. And
Okay.
some of your videos popped up, and I tried a few of them, and very powerful stuff. Because I've tried some of the other ones, and especially there's one that you have about chakra balancing with the different tones. It's like a 12-minute YouTube video, and I felt like pretty refreshed after doing it. And some of the other ones I just didn't, I got the theory, what was behind it, and I didn't get anything out of it. So I want to commend
Sure.
you for that, I guess. Let's maybe we should start from the beginning. How did you first fall into this sort of line of work?
Oh, the story is a great one. Of all places in the world, I was actually in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Casino, and I was there with some friends of mine for a weekend event. And it was during a Saturday after we broke for lunch, and we just got done listening to a couple amazing speakers, and I was surrounded by 3,000, like-minded, motivated, positive, loving people. And so I was really charged up energetically, and I was really, really, really tired from being awake for the last couple of days. And we were just walking by the Starbucks, and I looked off to the left, and I read the word Starbucks, and I felt this voice inside of me say, "You will create meditations." And I'm looking around going, who's talking to me? Like, what's this voice? And this voice was just persistent. You will create meditations. You will create meditations. You will create meditations. And after like the third or fourth time, I'm like, okay, to myself, I'm like, I will create meditations. And I looked at my friends as we were walking, and I said, when I get home, I'm going to make meditations. And my friend Joe, he looked at me and he goes, why would you do that? And we all just kind of laughed and didn't think anything of it after that. And then I returned home, and that voice was back. You will create meditations. You will create meditations. You will create meditations. And I'm talking to myself, going, "How? What is meditating? What is all this?" And this voice just guided me. Really, I just sat down in front of the computer and I created my first meditation, and that was titled Frequency. And what I did was I didn't know where this all came from, so the most logical thing for me was to send it to the last person that I heard speak on stage, because I heard that person, and then I felt this voice. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's a connection here. So I sent it off to him, and he listened to it, and he responded back to me, "Never stop what you've started to do." And I said, okay.
Yeah.
So still not knowing, and then I tried thinking on what to create next, and I was just drawing blanks. Nothing would come in, nothing would flow. It was like I had this inspiration, I made this audio, and now I'm trying to think about what to do, and nothing's flowing. So I was really confused for a little while. And then I noticed no matter where I would be, whether it was driving, at the supermarket, just living life, I started getting these feelings. And the feeling was guiding me on what to create next. So then instead of thinking, I stopped thinking altogether, and I just went back to living. And then I started getting these impressions, these feelings. So when I got that feeling, I would sit down, and within a day or the next day, this new meditation would flow through me, and I would create it and get it done. And even to this day, that's how it works. I don't think about what to create next. I just live my life and focus on feeling good and feeling great and having the most productive day I can. And the feelings line themselves up, and then they just come to me, and then I create that new audio, and then I share it back out with the world, and that's how it works. That's the flow.
When did this all take place? Is it a few years ago?
Let's see, we're in April 1st today, so a little less than 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Is when I was at that first event. And the ride's been wild ever since I created that first meditation and posted it. Just the response out of the gate from people all over the world has been just amazingly positive and amazingly mind-blowing, really. Just the amount of, awakening or clarity or experiences that others are experiencing with the audios that I'm sharing with them.
Did you have any spiritual or metaphysical background before this started, or what?
None.
Yeah,
no. I didn't even know what meditating was, and I actually, to be honest with you, I thought people that meditated were kind of creepy.
Yeah.
That's how much I didn't know what meditating was. So again, when I felt that voice telling me to make meditations, it would be telling like a sushi guy he's going to go start building, engineering bridges over the ocean. He'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
It was the same kind of contrast, but I didn't talk myself out of it. And, most people would just shun it off as, "Oh, I'm tired, I'm delusional, I'm hungry. That's not for me.
I'm crazy."
Or instead, in that moment, I listened and said, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then the rest just started flowing.
So how do you go about making these meditation videos?
Well, originally it started out just doing regular stereo with music. So I would record the audio and put it to music. It was pretty simple. What you were mentioning was the 3D audios that I started creating. And those are really powerful, they're really magical, and they're really effective. And I caught wind of this 3D technology just on YouTube, listening to other people, pop balloons or shake keys, or in the garage they would throw a light bulb across the room, and you would get this sense of that you were there, and you would pick up all the senses and the perception of, the keys being shaken to the left ear, to the right ear, or in front of you, or in back of you. So then I started processing, well, how can I create these meditations in this 3D way? Because I think it'll be really powerful. So then I started looking up 3D microphones, and they're really expensive. I mean, you're talking a few $1,000s for a basic one, up to 10, 15 grand. And that was way out of my zone. I'm like,
wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So I did a little research, and I said, you know what, I'll just make my own. And that's what I did. And I created my own 3D microphone. And that's what I use to create these 3D audios, where when the listener listens to it, they virtually hear me everywhere all at once at the same time. And it's really a moving experience. It's nothing I can explain over this call on how just powerful that this technology works when reaching out to that person or reprogramming their mind or their beliefs to vibrate at a different frequency to attract more of what they want into their life. It's just, really cool stuff.
Where are you calling from again, Paul?
I'm in Boston.
Oh, you're in Boston.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Close by. Wow. That's good.
Yeah, you're right up the street in Vermont.
Yeah, right up the street. I've had some guests that I've linked up with out in California. It was one guy I talked to who was having a power outage at the time, and he was calling. He was in his car. So anyway, excellent. Well, let's talk a little bit about the. I think the first probably video that I had seen of yours was the power of the words "I am." And
oh yeah, that's a powerful one.
How did you come about this? Do you? I guess I'll let you explain.
Sure. That audio, a lot of these audios, every audio I create has its own intention. And when you listen to each audio that I share and that I create, I explain to you what the intention is of the audio. With the I am, it's full of thousands and thousands of I am affirmations, all in that 3D technology with some really nice music. And just the words I am are really everything. I mean, in the Bible, there's that quote, I am that I am. I am that I am. So I am, if we're all connected we're all connected to each other, so there's no separation. So we are that. I'm an extension of you. You're an extension of me. You're an extension of the tree, the dolphin, the clouds, the stars. Everything's interwoven. So with the concept of that I am, I decided to put together literally thousands of I am affirmations with that 3D technology, and really the listener gets a mental overload of positivity. And that audio, changes people's lives instantaneously. That's a very, very powerful audio.
How long do they have to listen to that for it to change their lives dramatically, shall we say?
That's a good question. It varies on each person. It really goes back to the person's willingness to learn and willingness to accept change. And everyone's at a different level on that scale. But if someone has a very high willingness to learn, then they're going to be very receptive to that particular audio. But then also the willingness to accept change. They may hear me say, I am blessed for all the good things in my life. I am a winner. I am a champion. I have what it takes. I am me. I am great. I am amazing. But if they're not willing to accept that, then they'll have a block. They'll hit that resistance within themselves. But for those people who have the high willingness to learn and the high willingness to accept change and embrace this new concept of, mental reprogramming, if you want to call it that, the response is instantaneous. Within a few minutes, a few moments. Just when you hear me for the first time with this 3D surroundness, and you have to wear headphones to hear the 3D.
Right.
So when you put on your headphones and you hear this surroundness with all these positive, amazing affirmations that are set with the intention of love and for the person to feel better about themselves, and that listener embraces it, then it's wide open for them to fill in that experience and to create.
So I kind of I publicize this show as your mission, your humble mission is to I kind of made this up, well, at least saying this is your humble mission, is to create the global shift in consciousness where the tipping point is that of positive intention. Is that your mission, or did I make that up for you?
No, that sounds good. I simplify it because that sounds good, but on the biggest scale, if nobody understands how that's achieved, it just sounds good. It won't do anything. So to back up a little bit, my intention when I create anything that I do is I want the listener to feel better about themselves. That's it. That's my objective. That's my intention, to help one person feel better about themselves. Because at the end of the day, we need to feel better in order to create a positive change. If all of us are feeling crummy and let down and tired, there's going to be no change.
Right.
If we're all focused and feeling better about ourselves, then our inner vibration is going to be raised. And when we raise it individually, then that becomes raised collectively, and then it expands infinitely.
Yeah. And too often you see, too often, it seems like there's a lot of people who are politically active, and yet are they working on themselves? They're working outside of themselves for change, and yet inside they are probably not working on themselves. You see this a lot.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting how the whole dynamic is of people seeking change outside of themselves, but not seeking to change themselves. And what you're saying is if they change themselves, then they can change what's outside of them.
When you change how you feel about yourself, you change your vibration, and then the way you perceive the outside physical existence instantly changes based on your vibration of how you're feeling.
Right. And I know there are people who will pay it lip service. Will say, "Oh yeah, this makes perfect sense to me," and they might even listen to the meditation, and they might even believe it. But then the rest of their day, they're something else. They're doing something else. So that probably doesn't work, does it? That whole sort of contradiction.
Well, it wouldn't help that specific person individually. Collectively, it can cause a whole other thing to occur. But there was the author Leo Biscaglia, and he said, "To know and not to do is not to know."
Mm.
So just because you know something or learn something or can memorize it or recall it, well, that doesn't mean anything unless you apply it. It's the application of known principles that lead to success. And let's talk about the word success for a second. A lot of people, most people, the majority of people equate success with dollars and money. No, being wealthy and rich means you have money. Success is a feeling. Success means you feel good. What you do, when you do something, it gives you a good feeling. That is what successful is. So when you understand that, as long as someone is feeling good and feeling better about themselves in this moment, they are a success.
Yeah.
So success is always a feeling, of a feeling good. That is what success is.
Yeah, and this culture is so success oriented, as success is money. You got they kind of
That's why
yeah.
everyone wants money, and they're all annoyed and frustrated and aggravated that they don't have it. Well, duh, because you're not feeling good. If you're feeling good, your vibration's in alignment with who you really are. You're allowing the source energy to flow through you. You let the law of attraction kick into gear, and guess what? You start getting the things in life you want.
Mm.
Like, you can't think about what you don't want or what you don't have and expect what you want to come in. It can't, because you're instantly setting up resistance. You're not allowing the energy to flow through you.
Right.
It's so simple, but it's so difficult to convey sometimes to the masses, because everyone's going so fast, full speed forward in the wrong direction mentally or vibrationally.
Yeah.
When you tell them, you got to back up, man. You got to back way up. And the first thing you need to do is just work on feeling better.
Right.
Well, how do I do that? Listen, if you want to go to the park and throw Cheez-Its at birds, and if that makes you happy, that's where you start. Really. If someone says, I want $1 billion company, but I feel like crap.
Yeah.
Good. Go do something that makes you feel good. Well, I don't know what makes me feel good. Whatever it is, if you want to go smash gallons of milk against the wall and that makes you feel good, start there. And people look at me like I'm crazy when I say this, but it's true. Because you need to realize where you're coming from first before you can achieve anything.
Yeah. And, everything is sort of, I would say the system is set against that, against people feeling good. If you turn on the news,
completely against it.
It's nothing but bad news. They might have a little, feel-good story at the end. And the media, and now the media is constant too. You get it everywhere, and everybody's got a story, and mostly it's not very good news. It's like so it's it's designed to bring us away from that feeling of feeling good and attracting these good things, and therefore you have people who walk around going, "Oh, this is awful, and the situation here is bad, and I feel bad because the situation is bad, and da 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 da, and I can't get this to work because I feel awful," and it's just sort of a cycle, a spiral, and then sometimes other people try to talk to him, say, "Well, all you have to do is feel good," and people are like, "Well, how do I just feel good? I can't just feel good." There's no button. This is the way.
How can I feel good? Did
Right.
you read the newspaper?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to feel good?
That's what my parents used to say that about me when I was a baby, because I smiled all the time, and my dad would say, "Well, he hasn't heard the news yet." Right? And now I think, well, I should never have tuned in to the news. And so like these days I try to avoid it like the plague. It's like I don't really want to hear the news right now, or see the news, or read about the news, unless it's in a good way. And if I do, I try to twist it in sort of a comical fashion, like, I don't know,
you have to.
Because exactly. Like I think it was some speech that Jim Carrey made about, or John Kerry, whatever his name is, the Heinz ketchup guy, about Ukraine, about you can't just go into a country that's so 19th century. And I just cracked up laughing, like, oh my God, are you serious? Oh my God. Such
Yeah, so that kind of stuff is always out there. It's always going to be, and you have to be, or the individual. Once you realize that, you don't need to give any attention to that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I tell a lot of people, I say, the best way to start working on feeling better about yourself is to turn your back on what you don't like. So if you watch the news and it makes you upset, well, that's a really good indication that you shouldn't be watching it. Take a break.
Yeah.
For a few months. Work on you. And then go back to the news. And trust me, when you do that shift and you put something back on, you read the newspaper and you hear a story, you're going to have so much mental clarity and self-awareness to process that information and actually use it to your own empowerment, because you're going to be able to discern the fact from the opinion and hone in on how you feel to guide you. I mean, it's a magical breakthrough. But you're right. It's not how things are set up. I mean, how many people, all right, if I'm in traffic and someone cuts me off and almost hits me,
yeah,
I don't give them the bird and use the F word. I give them a thumbs up. And I smile at them. And I have a big truck, okay?
Okay.
And I may ride your ass on the highway, but I'm beaming. I'm smiling at you. And it confuses the heck out of people. They get so freaked out. And all of a sudden they look at you and you can read their lips. They're going, sorry, sorry. It's like, why are you sorry? I'm happy. You gave me a reason to smile. You didn't kill me. I'm thankful.
Right? Yeah. I had something like that happen to me today, where we have this highway where you go north on it, and then it turns into one lane because they're building this bridge. And somebody, I moved over to the left lane, and somebody just before where you're supposed to go over sneaked in ahead of me, so they could get ahead of me and get to their destination, 10 seconds before I did. And I just smiled. I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, wow. Like it's like people would pass another person just to get to a stoplight. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna stop up there anyway.
I love that, watching people speed up to the red light.
Yeah, you're gonna stop anyway. Yeah, it's controlling your anger or your feelings. That's something that people are so it's so foreign to people, because we're so knee jerk in our reactions. It's easier almost to get mad than to take a breath and think, is this really so bad?
Right. I mean, the guy cut you off. What are you going to lose, a half second before you get to where you need to be? Like, at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah.
You're alive.
Right?
There's actually, we can talk about this for a moment. There's a huge opportunity in moments of negative emotion to really throw your intention at what you want or who you want to become or what you desire. And how that would work is, we'll just use the traffic incidents. Okay, so say that guy cut you off. He almost hit you. Okay, you put on the horn. In that moment, your heart's racing. You're all worked up. You're shaking. You don't know what to do. You don't have your thoughts. A trick is to get a hold of your thoughts in that moment and focus on what you want or who you want to become, or see yourself somewhere that you desire. Because you're all worked up energetically. You're vibrating, man. You're beaming. You're beaming a negative emotion, but you have the power to completely take that and use that vibrational buzz to direct it at what you want. And when you do that in that high intensity vibration of that emotion, when you focus on what you want, you're actually broadcasting to the universe in a way that emotion cannot be rescinded. So if you're all worked up and just jolted, but you focus on what you want, it's so powerful. You'll be blown away with what starts coming your way in that moment. And it works the same too with intense pleasure. There's portals that open up, energetic portals that you can focus on what you want, and that broadcast can't be rescinded. It has to come back to you. Now, you can't really put a time frame on it. That's the trick too. A lot of people put a time frame. I'm going to get this done in 30 days. And then as soon as they make the decision, what are they thinking about? Oh, 30 days is going to come real quick. Oh, I don't know. I got this. I'm busy tomorrow. And Saturday I can't do it. And maybe next Monday. And oh, my God, is 30 days enough? Okay, so what are you doing? You're focusing on the lack of. You're never going to get it. Stop.
Right.
You make a decision and say, I'm going to get it done. When it lines up, it lines up. Then you have expectation. You have enthusiasm, which gives you knowingness, which eliminates the doubt, which lets go of the resistance, which allows the energy to flow. Guess what? You'll have that done before you even know it, before you even realize it'll be done.
Yeah.
Because you're not focusing on the lack of. Really simple concepts, and it's great to talk about them. And it's 5 minutes to learn, and it's a lifetime to master.
Yeah.
So you don't go from where you are now to blissfully, amazingly happy with all your dreams in 30 minutes. It's a process. But when you start the process, you can use discernment, and you'll be more aware of what's presenting itself to you in the form of people, situations, circumstances, and events. And then you can kind of see what kind of strings you want to pull on, and then you can pull on those strings that feel good. And then that's the art of allowing. It's guiding, allowing your feelings to guide you to where you want to go, or who you want to be, or who you want to become, or what you want to have, whatever you want to call it.
Wow, that's really interesting stuff. So you kind of like harness these feelings that you have. Say you get angry or sad or whatever, and you turn that into a positive idea, affirmation.
Yeah, I love it when someone gets me mad.
Yeah.
I get so excited. I get so thankful.
Yeah.
I beam. I get so excited because portals are opening, and I can focus, and I can set intention. And wow, it's going to get so magnificent now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Where other people go, I need a perk. I need a beer. I need to sit down.
Right.
Don't talk to me. Let me just watch TV. They put on the news,
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, wow. That is really powerful. So did you do some reading, or where did all this information come to you from?
I really don't know. I mean, I've had some mentors that I've listened to. Back when I was 17, 18 years old, I was really into Napoleon Hill. Well, I still am, but back then I was obsessed with Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich and Earl Nightingale and How to Win Friends and Influence People and The Power of Positive Thought. And, I read those books.
Mm-hmm.
I read them, but I didn't really internalize them. It wasn't until much later, after these meditations started flowing, that everything started clicking in. That self-awareness, that inner essence started to be released. The resistance wasn't in control. I was in control to be who I wanted to be. The real me woke up, and then all this information was there all along. I wasn't aware of it. So even now, every day, every moment, there's just a constant clarity that presents itself to me. It's really cool.
And you pass this on to your family, or how does that work?
You know how family and friends go.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They know you at such a different level through so many experiences. To them, you're just saying something else. But no, really, the listeners that we have now all over the world, I mean, there's countless millions of people that listen to the audios that I've created. And everything I create, I share for free. So, like I said, going back to my intention is to help one person feel better about themselves. It's not for nothing else. So anything I do create, I share openly for free with anyone who wants to listen to it. And that really helps, too. Energetically, it helps myself, and it helps the listener, because they can sense where I'm coming from. I'm there to help them feel better about themselves, because that's the first step in, awakening or getting to the tipping point or changing the vibration, whatever you want to call it.
Right. And when you must feel like an alien sometimes walking down the streets, though, with the knowledge that you have, and you see people acting in such a negative way. How do you I don't know. How do you deal with that?
All right. It's a good question. If I see, all right, say I'm at the supermarket, and I see, a mother be upset at their child because the child's being loud and the mom's trying to pick out hamburger. Okay. Most people would look at that and go, look at that mother. I would do this, that, and the other thing. Or I look at the mother and the child, and I mentally harness my intention, and I just throw it at them, and I picture the mother smiling. I picture the child being responsive. I picture them hugging and laughing and not being in that situation that I see them in. And then I really just kind of walk away and go about my own day. So there's a lot of things I do that most people would have no understanding that they can do. So basically, you can throw your intention at anything or anyone in any way at any time and instantly have a positive effect on them, whether they realize it or not. But if you do that and watch them, you will see facial expressions change. You'll see shoulders go back. You'll see a sense of relaxation or security, or they'll get a mental shift, well, maybe I shouldn't be acting that way, or why am I getting so upset? It's just hamburger. It's just a child. So when you can observe from this perspective and realize how much inner power and control you can actually use from yourself to apply to other people, it's really cool.
Yeah. And when you're in a conversation with people who are acting in a sort of negative way, I guess the easiest thing to do would be to walk away. But if you don't do that, what do you do?
I haven't been in that situation in a really long time, so I haven't had to know what to do. So I really don't know.
Oh, okay.
How to respond to that.
Yeah.
But it was a good question.
Oh, thanks.
Let's see, how can I break this down and have it sound funny but really effective? Okay, I got it. When I order Chinese food, now, anyone listening, try this, okay?
All right, we'll try
When I
this.
order Chinese food, I call up, and the guy will say, hi, how can I help you? And I say, okay, can I get a number 32? And then I pause for a few seconds, and in my mind, what I'm resonating, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm broadcasting is, and a bunch of extra food, and a bunch of extra food. And then I'll say, okay, and then I'll take an order of chicken fingers, and then silently in my mind, and a bunch of extra food, and a bunch of extra food, and a bunch of extra food. And then, okay, anything else? Nope, that's it. Okay, 15 minutes. Okay, bye. I walk in, how you doing? Play a little Keno, they give me my food. I go home. 100% of the time, there is extra food in the bag.
Wow.
No matter who's working, what day of the week, whether it's an egg roll, an order of scallion pancakes, beef teriyaki, there's always something in the bag.
And you don't get mad and go, I didn't order that.
No, I got what I wanted. A bunch of extra food.
Right.
There it is. And my wife, she thinks I'm crazy because she'll hear me order the food, and then she thinks I go outside and call them back and add what I say was in the bag. No, I don't. So then I said, okay, you're going to listen to me order the food, and then you're going to go pick it up, and then when you get home, there's going to be something in the bag. And she's like, okay. I'm like, well, what do you want to be in the bag? She goes, scallion pancake. I'm like, you got it. Watch this. I ordered the food. I sent her there. I come home. Bam, scallion pancake. And she's just like, you're gone. You're crazy.
You're a magician.
Yeah, that's a big word.
Yeah, is that like manifesting? You're manifesting your reality.
Being able to manifest. I mean, when you talk to, like Wayne Dyer, for example, I'm sure a lot of people know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
That guy has this ability to manifest butterflies no matter where he is. Like, it doesn't matter where he is. He could be in a hotel room. He could be at his house. And when this guy focuses on manifesting butterflies, man, they just show up. So it's just not me saying it. It's just applying the universal laws of understanding on some things. And like I said, a lot of this sounds really far-fetched, but it's really simple. It's actually so simple. It's so easy. You see it in your mind. You have expectation, knowingness. You have no doubt. You care, but not that much. You let it go, and bam, it flows right back to you.
Just like that. Bam!
Bam!
Wow. That is amazing. And it's amazing. It seems like you should be like a teacher. Well, I guess you are a teacher, but like, like of kids. It seems like you have some kind of knack for that. I don't know where I get that, but you're very clear and easy to understand. Does that make any sense to
Right.
you?
Yeah. Because I just talk from my own experiences. Like right now, I'm not trying to think about what to say to get a listener to like me or to really understand what I'm saying. Like my intention is I want everyone to feel better about themselves, and I care, but not that much. I mean, I can't want someone to feel better about themselves than they want to feel about themselves. So my intention is so amplified coming from me, but it stops at I care, but not that much, because I can't want it more than you.
Yeah.
So when I project that balance of energy, that's what positively impacts people so quickly. And it's just like you said, I'm just me. I'm not scripting things. I'm not reading out of a book. I don't have any outlines. I don't have any notes. I'm talking from experience. Because, who do you listen to is a really good question. Who do you listen to?
Yeah.
If you read a book by Donald Trump, great guy. We all admire him, but he never read a single book he wrote. So you read his book thinking those are his words when they're someone else's words, and he didn't even verify them. So who do you listen to? Well, you can't listen to that because who is it? What is it? Why is it? So who do you listen to? When you listen to people who have what you want, who have been where you are, or who have been where you want to be, those people will relate to you from experience. So energetically, you benefit from them infinitely because you're not talking to someone who has a sound good answer or is rehashing someone else's opinion or logic that isn't tested. So a lot of people confide advice in people who have never had what they want and who have never been where they want to be. But their answer may sound good or their advice may technically make perfect sense, but energetically, you're not going to gain anything from it because there's no intentional buzz coming from that person into you. So like when I talk to somebody and I explain certain things, I want them to be the best version of themselves. There is no competition. I'm not holding anything back because I don't care because I know how it works. So if you take hold and apply it, you're going to get the result. But if you don't, it's not up to me to do it for you. And it's just going back to that intention that is so powerful.
And and especially on the internet where there's so much information out there, and you're exactly right. Like, well, who do you pay attention to? As far as finding a good meditation video or audio that you can depend on or think it'll be effective or not just meditation in general or where your news is coming from as well. Like, you have to really look at this stuff and try to determine, how best to proceed because there's so much information. It's a glut of information and it's almost, well, in my opinion, it's pretty, what's the word? I was going to say optional, but no, intentional.
Intentional.
Yeah, where they just glut you with information so you're confused and you just throw it out because it's just too much. Or like, oh, well, that's the internet, a bunch of quacks on the internet and, and then you ask, well, where did you get your information from? And, oh, I read it in the New York Times, oh, another trustworthy source, right?
Right.
Right. So it's like, it's interesting where you have well-meaning people who are intelligent people who, know about sort of, media manipulation and who owns what, and yet will quote from various news outlets about what's going on. And it boggles my mind every time that they don't put that in perspective.
Yeah. It's, let's see.
Yeah, there's
right.
no
if we
question
back up
there.
a second. Yeah, no, I like that. It's a two-part next explanation. If we back up to a second on, we'll say other people's audios or meditations. Okay, so you're scanning the internet and you want to listen to this guy, and the title sounds good, and the artwork looks great, and you start to listen to it. And the guy sounds good, his vocabulary is perfect, the sound is crisp, the music is amazing, and 10 minutes into it, you're just like, yeah, all right, whatever, I don't feel anything. Well, exactly, you don't feel anything because that guy or that girl, they got it backwards. They worked on the delivery or the tone or the music. And those things are important, but what's infinitely more important is the inner buzz from the guide. So I put 99.9999999% into harnessing the inner buzz within myself before I speak a single word. So these other people may sound great, but their audios are flat. And they're flat because there's no vibration, there's no buzz. It's all technical. Well, technical things don't impact people's lives positively. Technical things sound good, but they don't change people. They don't affect people. They don't inspire or empower people. Where I'm the opposite. I work all on my inner buzz, my inner frequency. And I really, when I do these audios, I do these things in one take, one shot, and I don't edit anything. So I'm not focused on the technicality of them at all. My focus is the inner buzz and that intention of having that one person feel better about themselves. But that's why some things sound flat. Then the person says, oh, well, maybe I'm just not ready for this, or that's too much for me. No, you're just not resonating with the speaker of the audio. And you're not resonating with them because they didn't work on their intention. They didn't work on themselves enough. So maybe their intention was to make money with the audio. Or maybe their intention was to feed their ego with the audio. You follow me?
Yeah.
That's why there's no energetic connection. Where myself, I'm all about the buzz. That's my focus. That's why people have the impact when listening that they feel. Because they feel where I'm coming from.
Well, it's really
more than they hear.
Yeah.
People will feel you way before they hear you or they process what you're saying. It's all that intention.
Well, you can really feel your excitement and buzz in your audios. One of them, I don't remember which one it was. Maybe it's all of them where you're like, are you excited? Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I get really fired up.
Yeah.
And again, when I go to get that feeling to record, I'll get the feeling on what the intention is. And literally, I hit record, I clear my mind, and bam, I just go. And most of I don't even know what I'm doing or what I'm saying or how I'm saying it until after I go back and listen to it. So when I listen to something that I created, I am just as excited as anyone who's listening to it for the first time. Because I want to know, what did I come up with next? How did I do this? Wow. And it's really cool. Yeah. Where others are like, no, I got to redo this. I don't like that. I didn't like how I said that word. I fumbled. I didn't make sense. I mean, if you really listen to some of my audios, my grammar in English is not perfect.
No.
At all.
I think in one of them you spill your coffee. You're like, I just spilled my coffee.
Yeah. I laugh in the middle of it, and I just keep going.
Yeah.
But that's the magic. That's the difference. That's what creates change.
Well, it's fascinating stuff. And your website, for folks out there who want to hear more information, what is your website?
It's my name, Paul Santisi, meditations.com.
Okay. You can check out
and then also... Yeah. Everything is on YouTube. You can just search my name. And right now I have about 130 hours of free content up.
Yeah. And I can't decide what to listen to. There's so much out there and what to, keep regular. But I think after talking to you now, I should focus more on the negative block stuff, which is pretty powerful stuff. Yeah.
Very powerful. There's one called Mind Silence.
Yep.
It's very powerful. The first 18 minutes, I'm aggressively enthusiastic, and I tell you how it is and how it has to be if you want to become the new you. And I really drive and pull out a lot of emotion and a lot of intensity. And then we do energy clearing with tuning forks at different frequencies. And then there's a section where we bring the listener into reliving what are they afraid of, what's holding them back, what bothers them, and then we release that. And then the last part of it is a soothing meditation to realign the vibration.
Yeah. I guess my only observation is that it's really long. It's like an hour and...
Yeah, it's long. And, a lot of my audios are about an hour long. But the beauty of them is, like, a lot of people say, oh, I fall asleep. Yeah, you think you're falling asleep, but I really just get you really, 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 really relaxed. So you're actually aware, but you're so relaxed, you think you're sleeping. That's why a lot of people listening, they'll come in and out and in and out and in and out, or at the end they'll wake up. If you're coming in and out and going up and down, that is the true definition of meditating. Meditating isn't just being in this surreal zone for 15 minutes. It's coming in and coming out and coming in and coming out and clarifying and changing the inner vibration at the DNA level in a lot of cases. So it's all good. If people listen to something and they pass out in 5 minutes, fantastic. Subliminally, with the headphones on, you're still going to get a magnificent result. You don't have to be consciously aware of what's going on to experience magical results with the audios that I create, because they're created with a whole different intention.
Yeah. All right, well, that's all I have, Paul. Thank you so much for connecting and sharing your knowledge here on community radio.
No problem. It's been awesome.
And I'll be listening to you. And thanks so much. You want to stay on the line? I'll talk to you. I'm just going to play a little song here.
Okay, great.
All right.